The story of Moses is one of the most epic and captivating tales in the Bible, spanning from his miraculous birth in Egypt to his leadership of the Israelites out of bondage, his close relationship with God, and the trials that ultimately led to his inability to enter the Promised Land. This is a story of faith, power, rebellion, and divine destiny. In the land of Egypt, where the Israelites were enslaved by the Pharaoh, a decree was made that all Hebrew baby boys were to be killed. During this time of great fear, a Levite woman named Jochebed gave birth to a son. Knowing the danger he was in, she hid him for 3 months. When she could hide him no longer, she placed him in a basket coated with tar and pitch and set it among the reeds along the bank of the Nile River. As the basket floated down the Nile, Pharaoh's daughter, bathing nearby, noticed it among the reeds. She sent one of her attendants to fetch it. Opening the basket, she saw the baby crying and felt compassion for him, even though she recognized he was a Hebrew child. She decided to raise him as her own and named him Moses, meaning, drawn out of the water. Miriam, Moses' sister, who had been watching from a distance, approached Pharaoh's daughter and offered to find a Hebrew woman to nurse the child. Pharaoh's daughter agreed, and Miriam fetched her mother, Jochebed. "Take this child and nurse him for me," Pharaoh's daughter said, "and I will pay you." So Jochebed nursed her own son until he was weaned and then returned him to Pharaoh's palace. Moses grew up in the palace, educated in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, yet he never forgot his Hebrew roots. One day, he saw an Egyptian beating a Hebrew slave. Overcome with anger, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid the body in the sand. The next day, he tried to break up a fight between two Hebrews, but one of them said, "Are you going to kill me as you killed the Egyptian?" Fearful that his deed was known, Moses fled to the land of Midian. Moses journeyed to Midian, where he rested by a well. The 7 daughters of Jethro, the priest of Midian, came to draw water, but shepherds drove them away. Moses stood up and came to their rescue, drawing water for them and their flock. When the daughters returned home, they told their father about the Egyptian who had helped them. Jethro invited Moses to his home, where he stayed and eventually married Jethro's daughter, Zipporah. Moses lived as a shepherd in Midian for many years, raising a family and tending his father-in-law's flocks. One day, while tending the flock near Mount Horeb, Moses saw a bush on fire that was not consumed by the flames. As he approached, God called to him from within the bush, "Moses, Moses." Moses responded, "Here I am." God told Moses to remove his sandals, for he was standing on holy ground. God then revealed that he had heard the cries of the Israelites and had chosen Moses to deliver them from Egypt. Moses, filled with doubt, asked, "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" God reassured him, "I will be with you." But Moses protested, "What if they do not believe me?" God provided signs and wonders for Moses to perform and gave him Aaron, his brother, to speak on his behalf. Moses returned to Egypt with his family and met Aaron, who had come to meet him by God's command. Together, they confronted Pharaoh, demanding the release of the Israelites. Pharaoh refused, and God sent 10 devastating plagues upon Egypt, each one more severe than the last, until Pharaoh finally relented and let the Israelites go. Moses led the Israelites out of Egypt, but Pharaoh's heart hardened once more, and he pursued them with his army. Trapped between the Red Sea and the approaching Egyptians, the people cried out in fear. But Moses, lifting his staff, stretched out his hand over the sea, and the waters parted, allowing the Israelites to cross on dry ground. When Pharaoh's army tried to follow, the waters returned, drowning them all. Moses led the Israelites through the wilderness, where they faced many challenges. They complained of hunger, and God provided manna from heaven. They thirsted, and God brought water from a rock. Moses ascended Mount Sinai to receive the 10 Commandments, but while he was away, the people fell into idolatry, worshipping a golden calf. Moses, in anger, broke the tablets of the law but later returned to the mountain to receive them again. Despite his leadership, Moses faced opposition even within his own family. Miriam and Aaron, his siblings, spoke against him because of his Cushite wife and questioned his authority. God, however, defended Moses, afflicting Miriam with leprosy as a sign of his displeasure. Moses, in humility, pleaded for her healing, and after 7 days, she was restored. As the Israelites journeyed closer to the Promised Land, they again complained of thirst. God instructed Moses to speak to a rock to bring forth water, but in his frustration, Moses struck the rock twice with his staff. Water flowed, but because of this disobedience, God told Moses that he would not lead the Israelites into the promised land. At the end of his life, God took Moses to the top of Mount Nebo, where he showed him the land promised to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. God said, "This is the land I promised on oath to your forefathers. I have let you see it with your eyes, but you will not cross over into it." Moses died there, and the Lord himself buried him in Moab. The Israelites mourned for 30 days, and Joshua succeeded him as leader. The story of Moses is a testament to God's power, mercy, and justice. It shows how one man, with faith and obedience, can change the course of history, leading a nation from slavery to the brink of a new beginning. Moses' life, filled with both triumphs and failures, serves as an enduring example of the complexities of human nature and the unwavering faithfulness of God.